I was halfway up the stairs when they just stopped existing. 1 second I had my hand on the railing. The next my foot came down on nothing. My body pitched forward into open air where the steps should have been. I scrambled, caught myself on the wall, hard in my throat. I whipped my phone flashlight around. There was no gap, no broken wood, no trick of perspective. The staircase just ended. A flat white wall, seamless, like it had always been that way. But I'd walked up those stairs every day since moving into this stupid circular rental house. I stood there shaking, pressing my palm against the cold plaster where the rest of the staircase should have continued. My phone buzzed with a notification, and when I glanced down, I froze. The screen had gone completely black, except for a single line of text I hadn't typed. "Don't look behind you." I didn't. I couldn't. But I heard it anyway, the sound of claws dragging across the wood floor behind me, slow and deliberate, like a dog circling prey in the dark. I told myself it had to be a prank, maybe some Bluetooth hijack, some glitch notification. But the claws, they weren't stopping. A low scrape, then a click, like nails tapping against the hardwood. My chest tightened. I finally forced myself to glance over my shoulder. Nothing. Just the curved hallway behind me, lit in a weak circle from my phone's flashlight. Empty. But when I turned back, the wall where the stairs had ended was gone. The staircase stretched up again, as if it had never disappeared. My legs felt like stone. I climbed anyway, because standing still felt worse. Every step groaned under my weight, like the house was protesting. At the landing, I paused, trying to slow my breathing. And that's when I saw it. A shape, darker than the shadows. Human-sized, pressed flat against the wall at the end of the hall, like it had been painted there. It didn't move. Didn't blink. Then my phone screen lit up again. "She's waiting for you on the road." The shadow figure peeled off the wall and started walking toward me. I bolted. No plan, no thought, just raw animal panic. My socks slipped on the polished wood as I tore down the hallway. Every step felt like I was running in a circle, the curve of the house looping me back toward where I'd started. But I didn't care. I just needed distance. Halfway around, I saw a window and lunged for it. Outside was pitch black, but not night black, void black. No trees, no stars, no lights from the neighboring farmhouses I'd driven past earlier. Just a blank nothingness pressing up against the glass. My reflection stared back at me, pale and wide-eyed. But it wasn't in sync. My head tilted left, the reflection tilted right. My mouth opened in a soundless scream while mine stayed shut. Behind me, floorboards creaked under a weight that wasn't mine. I spun, flashlight beam jerking across empty hallway. No shadow figure, no claws. Just silence. Then, from outside the window, a shape emerged from the black. For legs. Wrong proportions. A dog, but stretched, like someone had pulled its body too long. Its eyes burned silver in the void as it pressed its snout against the glass, fogging it up with each slow breath. My phone vibrated violently in my hand. Another line of text appeared. "If you leave now, she'll see you." I didn't even realize I was crying until my throat tightened and the sob slipped out. The house seemed to listen to the sound, like the walls absorbed it. I backed away from the window, keeping my light trained on that thing outside. Its jaws opened just slightly, enough for its tongue to drag across the glass with a slow, wet squeal. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned and ran back down the stairs. This time they stayed where they were. My chest heaved, legs trembling as I grabbed my keys and yanked open the front door. The air outside was heavy and damp, almost swamp-like. The circular house loomed behind me, windows like unblinking eyes. I didn't look back again. I drove. Fast. The road stretched out empty, a thin strip of cracked asphalt between fields of dark nothing. The longer I drove, the more I realized I didn't recognize any of it. No gas stations. No barns. Just corn that looked too tall, too dark, bending in the wrong direction like it was being pulled by something unseen. Headlights cut through the mist ahead. Relief surged until I saw who it was. A woman in a nurse's uniform, standing dead center in the road. White dress, cap tilted, arms hanging limp at her sides. I slammed the brakes. My car screeched to a stop just feet from her. She didn't move, didn't flinch, just lifted one arm and slowly pointed behind me. My phone buzzed in my cup holder. "Don't check the back seat." I couldn't breathe. My hands were locked on the steering wheel, knuckles white, eyes fixed on the nurse's fingers still pointing toward the back seat. I didn't want to look. But the longer I sat there, the heavier the air inside the car felt, pressing against my lungs, suffocating. The rearview mirror quivered in my peripheral vision, begging for attention. I forced myself to glance. Nothing. Just the empty seat. Relief hit me so hard my head spun. I almost laughed, but then I noticed something wrong. My reflection in the mirror wasn't moving with me. Its mouth was open, lips curling around silent words. It was mouthing, "Don't trust her." I jerked my eyes back to the nurse. She was gone. The road ahead stretched empty again, fog swirling in slow circles. My pulse hammered in my ears. I shoved the car into gear and floored it. Cornfields blurred past, but no matter how fast I drove, the road never changed. Same broken asphalt, same mist. After what felt like hours, my GPS screen flickered on its own. I hadn't touched it. The map was gone. Just a black screen with a single red dot pulsing in the center. A voice came through the speakers, metallic, broken, but unmistakably female. "You're already here." The GPS voice crackled, repeating itself, louder this time. "You're already here." I slammed my fist against the screen, but it didn't even flicker. The car's interior lights snapped on by themselves, flooding the cabin in pale yellow. My skin crawled. In the rearview mirror, someone was sitting in the back seat. Not a person exactly. More like a hollow silhouette, a cutout of deeper blackness in the dim light. Its head leaned too close to mine, though when I turned, the seat was still empty. I pressed the accelerator until the engine screamed. The car shuddered, but the speedometer stayed frozen at 33 miles per hour. Then the dashboard lit up with text, letter by letter, like an old typewriter feeding me a message. Stairs. Road. Window. Choice. I gripped the wheel so hard it hurt. Out of the fog ahead, a shape loomed. A staircase. Right there in the middle of the cracked asphalt, spiraling upward into nothing. Behind me, headlights flared bright white. I checked the mirror, my stomach dropped. The nurse was standing in the road again, but this time she was inside the glow, walking closer, her face blank and gray as paper. The car's speakers hissed. The voice whispered one more time. "Don't stop." I didn't stop. I couldn't. The staircase rose higher as I sped toward it, a twisting bone-white spiral planted right in the middle of the asphalt. It had no base, no support, just stairs climbing up into the fog. The nurse's reflection in my rear view never shrank, no matter how far I drove. She was always the same distance behind me, her feet not touching the ground, her face frozen in that paper-white mask. I slammed the brakes as I reached the staircase. The car skidded sideways, tires screaming. When I looked back down the road, it was gone. No nurse, no lights, just endless mist. The engine cut out on its own. Silence pressed in. I opened the door. The air outside felt colder, thinner, like it didn't belong to this world. My phone buzzed again, screen lighting up with another message. Climb. I didn't want to. But the longer I stared at the staircase, the more it felt like it was watching me back. The steps seemed to shift, breathing in and out, waiting. Against every shred of reason, I grabbed the railing and set my foot on the first step. The moment I did, a low growl rippled through the fog below. A shape prowled out of it, the long, black void dog, eyes burning silver, claws dragging sparks across the pavement. I climbed faster. The stairs seemed endless. Every time I looked up, they stretched higher, curving into a darkness so thick my flashlight couldn't pierce it. My chest burned, legs shaking, but something in the shadows above was moving, pacing, waiting for me. Halfway up, I made the mistake of looking down. The road was gone. The fields were gone. Even the fog was gone. Beneath me stretched nothing but a black void, endless and hungry. The staircase hung in it like a thread about to snap. The void dog was still there, circling the base of the stairs, its body too long, its head craning upward to follow me. Every so often it would leap, jaws snapping inches from the lowest step, but it never touched. I kept climbing, lungs burning, until the darkness above shifted. Something was waiting. A figure stood at the landing ahead, a woman in a nurse's cap. Only now her skin wasn't paper pale. It was translucent, veins glowing faint blue underneath like cracked porcelain. She didn't blink as I dragged myself higher. When I reached the last step, she tilted her head and spoke, not with her mouth, but with my phone buzzing in my pocket. The screen lit up without me touching it. "You should have stayed in the house." Behind her, The staircase didn't end. It bent sideways, spiraling into a corridor of doors. Each door pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Some of them bled. The nurse raised her arm, pointing at the closest one. And from inside that door, I swear I heard my own voice screaming. My whole body went cold. The scream behind the door wasn't just mine. It was me now, like I was hearing myself in real time. The tone, the breathless panic, it was identical. The nurse kept pointing, her hand stiff as a mannequin's. My phone buzzed again. Go in, or it comes up. A deep thud shook the staircase below. Then another. The dog was climbing now, dragging its claws along the steps, the screech echoing in the void. I grabbed the knob of the bleeding door. It was slick, warm, and when I twisted it open, the screaming cut off instantly. Inside was a hospital corridor. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, buzzing like angry wasps. The floor tiles were yellowed and cracked, lined with rust-stained gurneys. The air smelled of antiseptic and rot. I stepped through, and the door slammed behind me so hard I felt the vibration in my teeth. Every door along the corridor had little metal plates, patient names scratched in crooked letters. Most were illegible, but halfway down, one glowed faintly. I leaned closer. The plate read my name. I staggered back, heart hammering, when a sharp squeal echoed from the far end of the hall. A wheelchair rolled out of the darkness by itself, wheels screaming against the tile. It turned toward me, and seated in it was me, bandaged head to toe, skin raw and red beneath the wrappings, lips moving in a rasp I couldn't hear. The wheelchair squeaked closer, inch by inch, until the bandaged version of me was almost within arm's reach. I couldn't hear what it was saying at first, just the dry rasp of lips scraping together. Then, like a radio tuning in, the sound cut through. It's still in you. The words were faint, like they were being dragged across glass. I shook my head, stumbling back. What? What's in me? The figure's jaw slackened. Beneath the gauze, something writhed, something moving under the skin. The bandages split, dark fluid seeping out. The shape of a hand, not human, pressed from the inside of its chest, fingers clawing to get free. My phone vibrated again. Screen lit. Don't let it out. The lights overhead flickered, then burst one by one, plunging the hallway into stuttering flashes of dark and white. In each burst, the wheelchair figure was closer, until it wasn't in the chair at all. It was standing, right in front of me. Its mouth opened wide, gauze peeling away, and from its throat came a sound like claws raking metal. I bolted for the glowing door with my name on it. My hand shook as I gripped the handle. Behind me, the rasping voice warped into a scream. You brought it with you. The door flung open, and beyond it wasn't a room. It was the staircase again, spiraling downward this time, into pitch-black nothing. I didn't think. I just ran. The stairs spiraled down forever, my footsteps echoing like they belonged to someone else. The darkness below felt alive, pulling at me, each breath heavier than the last. Halfway down, my phone lit again. I didn't want to look, but the glow forced itself into my vision. Every step erases something. My stomach flipped. I kept moving, but the words proved true. As I descended, I realized I couldn't remember what my mother's voice sounded like. A few more steps, and my high school graduation gone. A few more, and the faces of everyone I'd ever dated blurred into nothing. The dog's claws scraped below me, always just out of sight. The nurse's footsteps clicked above, impossibly steady, never hurrying. They were driving me down, hurting me. At last, the staircase ended in a platform suspended over the void. A single door waited there. No handle, no lock, just a faint outline glowing white. I pressed my palm against it, desperate. It swung open on its own, slow and deliberate. Inside was my living room, my couch, my coffee mug still on the table, the half-folded laundry I'd left before this all started. For a split second, I almost believed I was safe. Then I saw the staircase in the corner. The one that shouldn't exist in my house. The one that led up into shadow. From the dark above it, something started coming down. It came down the stairs slow, deliberate. At first just a shape, too dark, too thin. Then the outline sharpened. It was me. Same clothes, same face, but wrong. Its movements lagged, like frames out of sync. Each step it took rattled the walls, though the real staircase never made a sound. I pressed myself against the living room wall, heart jackhammering. No, I whispered, voice cracking. No, no, no. My double stopped at the bottom step, its head tilted, jaw working. My phone buzzed one last time. I didn't want to look, but I did. You never left. The other me smiled. Not with lips, but with the skin of its face tearing upward, stretching into a grotesque grin. Behind it, the staircase twisted again, curving into the ceiling like an endless loop. I realized, too late, what the nurse had been pointing at. The road, the house, the stairs, the doors. No exits, only entrances. The lights in my living room flickered and died. And in that final darkness, I heard claws on the floor beside me, circling closer, as the thing wearing my face whispered, "Your turn."